Good evening, everybody. I know that you can hear my voice. We are going to start with 13 seconds. Actually, it's only going to be 11 seconds that's going to make you want to vomit, and then 2 seconds that's going to make you laugh.
A loaf of bread cost 50%.
What the heck is happening with the internet? I shall refresh. Let us try this one more time. Oh, what the sweet, merciful goodness. Oh, I say, what the deuce? Is this my internet or is this the incognito? It's not working. Come on, we're starting with this clip, whether you like it or not, or otherwise we're going to have to start with Don Lemon. One way or another, we're vomiting before this show gets started. Very interesting. For anybody listening on podcast tomorrow morning, the video is doing a spinning wheel of not playing, for goodness sake. Let me just see if it's the incognito mode or if it's actually just my internet. Just go here. Let's try this one more time. Now, my internet's working. Now I'm getting a lot of spinning wheels of death here. What the heck is going on? People, let me actually, before we even get going, am I live? Like, does everybody see me? Is it solar flares? Always have it. Lee Chim just donated. Hold on one second. Underwhelming opening. Hello. Well, I don't know if you can see me. Why would my computer? Leacham, for $100, I hope that you have just become the latest, most recent member of our supporter of our vivabarneslaw.locals.com community. Before I start cussing, thank you very much, Leacham. What the heck is going on here? Am I like? I don't know if I'm live across platforms. We're just gonna see what's going on here. Oh my goodness, I had such a wonderful opening, but now I have to wait and see if it's actually going to be something that I can do. No, does anybody see me? Okay, I see you. Dave, I'm live. Well, that's good. At least I'm not swearing as though I'm not. Why is nothing playing on my flipping computer? The mercy gods have denied the torture of their views, but nothing. I'm not able to refresh anything to play anything on my computer. I can't even see that we're live across all of the various platforms of the interwebs. Well, this kind of sucks. How the heck am I supposed to do a show? Maybe I can do something. I can bring up something that doesn't require showing video. All right. Well, forget it. When the internet, let me see what's going on here. Locals is good. Thank you, Bill Brown. But what's wrong with my computer? It doesn't matter. I got all the videos lined up. I wanted to start with that wonderful video from, it was actually from the Trump campaign. That was the punchline of the entire intro. Can't seem to do that. Maybe I could just bring up. All right, before we get started, everybody, good evening. It's Sunday night. It's Viva and Barnes Law for the People. Sunday night law extravaganza. If you don't know who I am, David Freiheit, former Montreal litigator turned current Florida rumbler. This is the Sunday show. It will be in its entirety on Viva Clips tomorrow. We start on YouTube, Twitter, Rumble, and vivabarneslaw.locals.com. And then we end on CommieTube. And we end on Twitter, even though we like them. And we go over to vivabarneslaw.locals.com and Rumble. And so when we cut it on YouTube, it's not the entire stream that appears on the Viva Fry channel. I put the rest on Viva Clips tomorrow. I wanted to start with a video of Kamala Harris talking about all the things that are going wrong under the Kamala Harris economy. Doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do that. Dude, I think my computer is just absolutely... I'm getting really, really irritated now. Okay, let me just try this here. We'll just try something new here. Did you all see the new propaganda? I know that you all saw it because you've seen the new Kamala Harris Same thing right now. I'm going to say the Serenity Prayer before I get ready to put my fist through this computer. Okay, I'm going to force quit a couple of programs. Oh, yes. Okay, we can see the same thing now. Now I can minimize here and bring it up. You've all seen the Kamala Harris, commie propaganda. This dropped Friday. The same guy who did Obama's Hope and Obama's Change with the contrast colors did Kamala, or did the Kamala propaganda. I'm not sure about the rest. And the original, by the way, just so you know, it said forward. I mean, it's Alex Jones said it. They use the same play over and over again. They even lack the originality to have an original propaganda campaign. They go with the Obama thing and they go with forward, hope, change, forward. And so I had to put this together. I mean, I'm looking at this and like, oh my goodness. There is no one meme that can capture the absolute inanity. Is that a word? Inaneness? The insanity of this. There's no one meme that you can do it with. Some people put a number of choice words on the bottom. So I put this together. Inflation, and I love it. I mean, it's beautiful. Inflation, invasion, incompetence, corruption, censorship, war. Things that drive me a little crazy. It's not totally symmetrical there. It's not totally lined up there, but sometimes the imperfections make it perfect. And I shared that with the world, and I think the world liked it. We are living through an absolute psyop. There's no other way to describe it. It's a psyop. And it's propaganda. We're watching, I don't even know what movie it is. I know that there was an election movie where they basically like, there should be an election movie, call it AI election, where there's actually no candidate. Oh, this would be an amazing, I don't know if it would be the punchline of the movie, like a Fight Club type thing. Like an AI generated candidate. We've seen how good it, can create AI video and make it look like a real human. Fake crowds, fake candidate. And at the end of the movie, you find out they just elected an AI overlord, and maybe the punchline is they have to live with it. Kamala Harris is as good as an AI fabricated entity. She's not a real person, except for her failures. And they are touting her. I mean, it's so grotesque, but they are literally, she's out there talking about how bad things are now, basically, like how inflation is up, cost of food is up, all this stuff, as though it's not her administration that is the source of this problem. And they get the media to run with it and sugarcoat the propagandizing and brainwashing of an entire nation. Hold on, where's the other one here? This is another one that I mean, I don't know if people realize this. She's Indian, she's black, and in this piece of propaganda, in order to appeal to everybody, I actually would call this racism. To take someone who's Indian or to take someone who's black and to give them the most Caucasian features you can imagine, right up to the blue eyes. And I don't care that it's a blue and white hue thing. She's Indian, she's black, but in the propaganda, she is whiter than Taylor Swift. That looks more like Taylor Swift than it looks like Kamala Harris. And this is a psyop of an election campaign. And it looks like, unfortunately, that it might work on a great many people. And people are like, oh, I love the impression. I love the way she makes me feel. Hope, change, forward. Oh, look at the beautiful contrast. The wonderful works of art. I feel like I'm part of an Andy Warhol exhibit, when in reality, she is the problem that she's promising to solve. All right. So much so, by the way, I wanted to start with this, but we'll see if we can do it. I'm gonna smashy if this doesn't come up. Yeah. I'm not gonna be able to play any video tonight. That sucks. This is just terrible. I'm gonna have to Google if there's some sort of technical issue. All right, well, we'll get back. That's Don Lemon putting out a hilarious video. Man, this is driving me nuts. Don Lemon put out a video where he goes to Atlanta, with the gambling places. Like, is it Atlantic City or is it Atlanta? I don't know. It's one of the two. And Don Lemon has now become the man on the street YouTuber. And he goes and asks people on the street, who are you supporting between Kamala and Trump? And I swear to you, it didn't go the way he thought it was going to go. I hope it's not my confirmation bias. The majority of the people were either pro-Trump or wanted Trump to win, but were fearful Kamala was going to win. And he interviews one guy, and I put a short vlog together earlier. Atlantic City, thank you. He interviewed one guy, and that's what I kind of wanted to start with, but then I opted for another video. And he asks the guy, were you better off 4 years ago than you are now? And the guy said, yes, I was better off 4 years ago. I was making a lot more money 4 years ago. And Don Lemon actually has the balls to say to the guy, I know you feel that way, but the record shows the economy is better now than it was 4 years ago. And I'm sitting there watching this. Like, everybody has listened to or watched or read 1984. And the part of the book, 1984, when they talk about, I think it was the production of chocolate. And they're like, production of chocolate is up 15% this year over last year. And Winston in the book, he's like, up over the last year, down. Who the hell knows the number? They might not even be making chocolate. They're just putting out the news and saying, well, chocolate's up, so you should feel good about yourselves. The Don Lemon lack of self-awareness, that he's actually looking at this guy and saying, I know you think you were worse off 4 years ago. I know you think you were making less money 4 years ago, but the record show. What record is better than a man's life, a man's lived experience? And like, I want to, just out of morbid curiosity, I want to talk to Don Lemon and understand how do you use hypothetical intellectual poll data to prove what someone has lived through as being wrong? And the amazing thing, however, is that you got what record? What record says where we go when we go all 38? What record? Well, they've got the market crash of 2 weeks ago was not as bad as the market crash of Donald Trump. And, inflation is down to 3% from 6, whatever the hell it was at. So, and then Kamala Harris is campaigning off it. So much of a problem exists. It's so much worse now than it was 4 years ago. She's promising to go full commie and do price capping to prevent gouging, food price gouging, as though that's the source of the inflation that, on the record, according to Don Lemon, doesn't exist. It's an absolute wild perversion of reality. And I don't know if Don Lemon is almost being glib about it. Well, I know you think things are worse now than they were 4 years ago, but actually, don't trust your lying eyes. Trust the record. Oh, lordy, lordy. So that's it. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to play any videos. I might try to refresh when Barnes gets in here and do a reboot. But, by the way, I did get to do one thing and make sure that I did it before we got started. That is to say, you will notice it says this stream contains a paid promotion, because I want to thank our sponsor of the evening, to the extent that I've kept it up here. Oh, what the hell have I? Hold on one second. I seem to have. Am I even going to be able to get that? People, you can't trust the government as far as you can throw them. They are a necessary evil that exists solely to, I like to say, create work for themselves. Say that the government is the biggest make work project on earth, where they make work for themselves. Whenever they screw up, they invoke their own screw ups to give themselves a raise. And the sponsor of tonight, the Wellness Company, people. You've seen them around. You've seen them on the channel because they are working hard to paddle the next time something comes down, and the next time something comes down, it might be sooner than later, people. They're talking about the bird flu, but they seem to have moved from the bird flu to monkeypox. I think they've moved on to monkeypox now. Something's coming. It's August to September, October, November. Something is coming between now and the election. Is it going to be monkeypox? Is it going to be the avian flu? Who knows? Stay tuned, and you will surely find out. The fine folks at the Wellness Company have put together a contagion kit. It contains all of the necessary medications that you might need in the event of the next thing. Article out of Forbes is talking about a new vaccine for the avian flu, whatever the hell they've got coming down. One thing is for certain, for those of us who have lived through it, when the last pandemic hit, there was a problem getting supplies. There was an interruption to our supply chain. We quickly found out that some of the countries that we are hostile with basically have control over some of the pharmaceuticals that we have access to. And for anybody who was sitting there panicking, am I going to be able to get a nebulizer? Am I going to be able to get the medications that I need to keep me safe? Some of us were panicking, like myself, and others weren't. Now, I was panicking because I was up in Canada where these kits are not available. But the Wellness Company's put together a kit that contains all of the products you need: the nebulizer, the hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin. It's an emergency kit that basically costs the price of a visit to the doctor. And if you go to twc.health, what is it? What's the way? I'm going to screw up on the website here because I can't. I have to make sure. twc.health/Viva. You get your kit. The promo code is Viva. I think it's 30 bucks off your kit. It's got all the emergency life-saving stuff that you need in the event of the next thing, when there's a shutdown, when non-essential businesses are shut down, when China says, no, or India, because that's where a lot of our medications are made. None for you, America. Make sure that you have your own medical kit at home. Keep you safe. Keep your loved ones protected. The link is in the description. Thank you very much, guys. Now let me see where Barnes is, because I don't know if Barnes is able to get in here. Every time I bring up a video, I freeze for about 3 to 5 seconds. Everybody, we're going to do something terrible. It's going to drive me crazy. Enjoy the chat for a second. I'm going to reboot. That is what my tech guy is telling me to do. I will be able to come back into the stream. I'm going to reboot and see what happens. So I'll see you guys in like 2 minutes. We'll see how long this takes. Everybody, Miss Scusi, restart. Now, restart. I'll be back. I promise. I'm going to keep talking until it reboots. All right, people. Let's see. It's going to be the test now. Are any of my tabs in incognito still open? I'm going to see if we're going to take a chance and play a video here, peeps. Let's see if this works. I wanted to play the Don Lemon video. We're going to do it until Barnes enters the house. And just everybody saying, Viva, get a producer. No producer would be able to fix this problem. I don't know if there's a storm or something. Let me see what it looks. It looks like it's a little better now. Oh, I hear Barnes on the backdrop. Barnes, see, even Barnes is blurry. It's not me. Robert, let me just see if I can play the video that I wanted to start this off with. Don Lemon. Here we go. Look at that. It looks like it's...
We're here in Jersey, Atlantic City. Who do you support? I plead the fifth.
Trump for the win.
Tell me why.
Plead the fifth means
I can't
Trump.
really call that right now, but
And by the way, you want to talk about Don Lemon being a sneaky little bastard? Look how he tries to get this guy in trouble by suggesting that this guy is going for Trump because he's a misogynist.
I feel like she's not good for president. She's good vice, but not for the actual lead role for the country.
Does it have anything to do with being a woman?
No.
Oh, and push him, Don.
No, because I feel like women, nah, you're not going to give me that.
Your money's on Harris.
Yeah,
Who do you want?
Trump.
Why don't you like Harris?
Oh, she don't have any experience.
Oh, she's got
She's the
experience.
vice president.
Yeah,
She's a senator.
She's vice president. That's not the point Don thinks it is.
She has no experience.
Hold
Well,
on.
I want Donald Trump. I just feel we need somebody that has a
I don't think
stronger
he's gotten one
background with the
person that wants
military,
Kamala yet.
world in general.
She's
Okay,
a
hold on.
prosecutor and an attorney general.
Oh,
and
he's
senator,
so
and
cute.
vice president. You're in a gambling town. Who's your money on?
I'm gonna support the Democratic Party, but I mean, Trump looked like he got it in the bag right now.
He
4
might-
years ago, it was
Here,
a lot
this guy.
better. I made a lot more money than I do now.
I know you feel that way, but that's not actually what the record shows. The economy is actually better under Biden. No, I'm serious. That's what the facts show.
Okay, you know what?
No, that's not because I watched CNN.
Oh, no, he doesn't watch CNN ever since he got fired. Robert, okay, hold on. Let me swap us back here. It's a very frustrating. Oh, look at our beautiful backdrops are matching your tie. Was this on purpose?
No,
Is it not recognizing your camera?
no, it's still not recognizing the camera.
Okay, well, okay. I think it's a solar flare. I'm blaming it on a solar flare. Robert, now you've seen. Well, I don't know if you saw that entire intro from Don Lemon. Does it make you feel optimistic that everybody he seems to interview off the street? I don't know. Did he cut that so it would only be Trump supporters? It would seem like a counterintuitive cut. Does that make you feel good?
I mean, I don't think it changes much of my analysis. But we'll be on with Richard Barris for another edition of What Are the Odds tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. He was just up there in New Jersey. That's People's Pundit Daily. And we'll be breaking down some more of the polling data, some more of the economic data, more about this issue of illegals and whether they're voting or not, and other related issues as well tomorrow on What Are the Odds, 2 p.m. Eastern, People's Pundit on YouTube and Rumble.
Apparently, people were telling me quite vigorously to reboot the router on Rumble. Anyways, it's working now. It's smooth now. Everybody share the link. Let everyone know that we are live. I'll go tweet it out again. Robert, after that not so smooth intro, well, first of all, what's the book behind you? It says Fear and Loathing in
La Liga. It is the beginning of European football, or soccer as it's known in the United States, though that term itself actually originates from England, though the English deny it. But it starts around the world this past weekend and continues. We got a bunch of picks up at sportspicks.locals.com. But it's a fun little book. Someone using the terminology from the inimitable Hunter S. Thompson, one of the great American writers, who talked about, he first termed it when he went to the Kentucky Derby in his home state of Kentucky, and it became a patented phrase, you might say, though that might lead Kamala Harris to think she could steal it, according to recent statements that got published about her belief the government can take whatever they want. We'll get into some of those cases this week that had actual application of it. But yeah, it's a fun little book about writing about the nature of the La Liga, which is the top sports division in Spain.
Robert, I'll bring up two Rumble rants. I may have lost all of the other super chats, so I do apologize. Salty mentioned Rumble may not be renewing their contract. Any way you can advocate to keep him on Rumble? I don't know what
this has been very public. Chris Pavlovsky, I recommend people follow their earnings reports and their public discussions on Wall Street. It's very apparent they're not renewing anybody come 2025. So their model was to put on about a lot of independent content creators and platform them for 2 years or so, and then to go entirely to a advertising, sponsor, and subscriber based funding model. So anybody that, could some people at Rumble been a little bit more clear to that? I would have recommended it, but Pavlovsky has been very public about that for more than a year on all the Wall Street earning calls, that, there is no more Rumble money come 2025, except for, that's why Rumble Studio, that's why more sponsors, that's why they're trying to create their own brands, that's why they're trying to boost locals, which Rumble owns. That's why they're trying to boost the premium subscribers. People can now, if they don't want to deal with the ads or they simply want to support free speech, they can become premium subscribers on Rumble. And so that's going to be the economic model going forward for everybody out there. That to the degree anybody out there in Rumble world doesn't know that's a content creator, they should be aware of that. Because to be blunt, Pavlovsky's been saying it now for more than a year in his Wall Street earnings calls.
And I don't think, to address the concern, it's Salty's not going to leave Rumble at all. I think the only thing that this might impact is the exclusivity to Rumble, where everybody ends their streams on YouTube. So they'll be on both platforms. I mean, in a way, it's still not a bad thing at all, even for Rumble, because it redirects the traffic from YouTube to Rumble, but you're just going to be reaching the YouTube audience. So it's not like anybody's going to abandon Rumble. And especially not with the tools that they've created for content creators, specifically Rack and their advertising base. I mean, it's speaking of which,
that's where content creators should start getting accustomed to the using Rumble Studio to create independent sources of monetization, encourage subscriptions for premium access. Someone like Salty could not do live on YouTube for very long. They clearly would ban him as quickly as they possibly could, like they're attempting with Crowder. So so he is more dependent on that, but he's got a good lead-in period with Rumble, and I think he can do a pretty good job with monetizing that access on a go forward basis.
But my issue was never that YouTube would kick me off. It's not the type of content you and I have ever done or that I do. Some subject matter they demonetize, and it's annoying, but big
emphasis on stuff you never did. That was good emphasis. Well, maybe Barnes will get me kicked off of YouTube, but
no. Well, no, Barnes, let me read this one. It says, "Keep up the good work, brother. Just curious if you had a chance to try the Radiant energy capsules I sent you. We sent you. I know you love your energy drinks. I would love to know your opinion. Thank you, sir. I haven't, and don't be offended, but I will. Guaranteed, promise. And that's not a hashtag, not a guarantee. That's a guarantee. I will. Is this why
content creator should listen? I get a lot of people don't listen to investor calls, but if you're a content creator economically tied to Rumble, it's advisable that you listen to the investor calls.
Yeah, no, and it's understandable, but they've created a network where I don't think anybody who had a contract would need to worry about anything. We've built it up, and it's like, okay, fine. So maybe you go back to getting a little bit of the free gravy from YouTube, but nobody's abandoning Rumble at all, and some people will still be prioritizing it in any event. And I'm gonna show one of the Rumble Advertiser Center ads when we get a bigger crowd, because we can monetize it to the max. More viewers, you get paid more cents per view, and then you can run whatever ad you want in Rumble Advertiser Center. We'll get there in a bit. All right. I do apologize for anybody who put out a super chat or a rant that I missed when I had to reboot. No guarantees except for over at Locals, $5 and more. We read it at the end or throughout. Robert, what's on the schedule for tonight, or the menu?
So we've got are illegals voting? And a lawsuit concerning the Biden administration attempting to weaponize the entire federal government to basically register everybody to vote. And a bunch of attorneys generals have brought suit over that case. We've got Elon Musk fighting both the EU and the UAW concerning a single interview with Donald Trump that I think went like 3 hours. We got Pepsi being sued for lying about its so-called protein bars. We got AI fake nudes, now the subject of litigation. We've got Fourth Amendment, big case on geofence warrants. Another big case on whether they can keep your property after they seize it. We've got a Facebook versus Robert Kennedy. We've got when can they just seize your bank? And when, as a court, can you weasel out of ruling on when a state or federal government can just seize a bank? Similarly, in that same capacity, Kamala Harris is talking about bringing back price controls. What is the constitutionality of price controls? It may surprise some people what the law is on that, according to the courts. TikTok ban now in court. We've got a pretty robust challenge. We got the Supreme Court turning down Biden's Title IX reforms. And last but not least, maybe even first up on the deck, we've got Candace Owens going full Nick Fuentes. And as they said in the great movie Tropic Thunder, never go full retard. My advice to Candace Owens, never go full Fuentes.
And just to prove people, there's nothing that we won't talk about here. Let me bring it up. But I don't know which one I want. We'll go with this one here. Robert, I don't know what's going on. I was trying to find the original source of this clip that's gone around. I believe this is one of them here.
Many moons ago, before they decided to establish Israel as a country, I know you've read like the short version in a classroom, and it was like, oh, the Holocaust happened, and then we realized that Israel needs a state. No, that's not how it went down. That's not how it went down at the F all, okay?
If anybody in the chat knows where this is from, I want to find the original and watch the entire thing. I don't know if this is from one of her streams, but let me know while we play this through here.
Catholics and Christians were going missing on Passover, and then they would find bodies, okay, across Europe, and they were able to trace them back to Jews. Blood libel. They weren't Jews, okay? These were Frankists. And so just like Leo Frank killed Mary Fagin on Passover back in 1913 or 1914, I can't remember the exact date, he did it during Passover for a reason. This Frankist cult, which is masquerading behind Jews, still participates in this shit to this day, okay? Why would you want, as a small nation that is the size of New Jersey?
Let's stop it there. Okay. All right. This is the thing.
Apparently, her attachment to Kanye goes beyond music. If you were going to be a skeptic of Israel, for which there's many legitimate political and policy grounds to be critical of Israel, but you didn't want to play into critics saying you really just don't like the Jews. That when you're going around saying Christ is king, you just mean a pro-Christian statement. You don't mean what anti-Semites mean by that. That she hasn't helped herself, because she also did an interview with Tristan Tate in which she thinks Stalin's a Jew.
Okay, now, but hold on.
They're all Jews. They're all, but they're not the Jews. You see, they're Jewish, right? See, they're a secret cabal, which really comes from Kabbalah. Yeah, the Kabbalah, which just a tradition of Judaic mysticism that goes back centuries, that has alignments with Christian mysticism. No, that's not what it really is. It's part of the secret pedophile ring of demon Baphomet worshippers, tied probably to maybe the Templars and the Masons. Not sure which, but we'll figure it out next week. And they're all working together to do human sacrifice. And we'll take all the blood libels of the Jews and we'll just say it's Jewish and repeat it and say it's because I know my history. It's some of the dumbest, looniest garbage I've ever heard. I always thought Queen Candace was at least part grifter. Now she's just become a race grifter. And it's pitiful and embarrassing to watch.
Let me play this one.
Do you think it's normal, by the way, that basically every person who speaks about Israel has to basically say a statement that's like, I don't want to get killed? like literally, because speaking about it, people are like, Candace, beef up your security. That's not fucking normal. Excuse my language, but that is not normal.
But here, well, she says something.
It's not normal that people have to think about their security, because, and by the way, it's not normal that then the way that you get comfortable with it is you're like, well, they shot JFK in an open car, so there's not. He's a sitting president.
Now I thought that she meant the deep state, but I believe that she means Zionists and whatever she means by that. And I'm not
is to really the Kabbalists who are part of a secret pedophile ring that goes back 2 centuries.
I don't want to
sacrificing Christian children in the 13th century.
But I don't want to write off anything too quickly. Is there any?
You can write all this shit off. That's what it is. It's utter garbage. I've dealt with it. This is like Nick Fuentes, at least, is a pure grift, right? The guy doesn't have an honest bone in his body. And and what he decided to do was he wanted to be Ben Shapiro. He figured out he couldn't be Ben Shapiro, so he decided to be the anti-Ben Shapiro. And that way to do that was to race grift. And there's always money in the Jew hate. There's money in race grifting everywhere. Al Sharpton knows it. The Klan knows it. People on the left and the right, or whatever side of race angle you got. There's been money to be made and fame to be had by race grifting and race baiting on all sides. BLM is a race baiting organization. David Duke is a race baiting organization. All of them are race baiters and race grifters of different kinds for different reasons. But for Kamala Harris to, now
you're in trouble, Robert.
Here's an analogy you don't want if you're Candace Owens. For me to start thinking you as intellectually indistinguishable from Kamala Harris. But that's how much it is. This is such open race baiting and race grifting. And Robert, just disguising it as, I'm not saying it's about the Jews. I'm saying it's about a Jewish group. And I'm going to borrow like 8 different conspiracy theories, throw them into one that somebody with a first-grade education could figure out as hogwash.
Hold on, just hear her out, Robert.
Obviously, my security doesn't really matter. If they want me, they're going to get me. That's not a normal thought process to have. We don't have that about any other country in the world, except for the one that, took over ours. And that's the truth, okay? We are an occupied nation. And if it's going to take women...
Okay, well, then I can stop here. So, Robert, here, let me... I just want to back it up and say 2 things. First of all, I've criticized Israel. I have absolutely no fears that Israel's going to retaliate against me. Now, the jokes about the Clintons, like you criticize Clinton, like every time I needle Hillary on Twitter, I do genuinely think if she ever were to retweet or reply to, then I'd get scared. Now, what she's describing might be true of the Democrat or of Clinton Arkansas, by no means Israel or Zionists in general. Now, okay, so set that aside. Is there any conspiracy? I know the dancing Israelis on the roofs of 9/11, and I don't write anything off anymore, but is there any conspiracy in which Mossad had a role to play in the assassination of JFK?
No, none. It's completely false and ridiculous at multiple levels. The Kennedys why Robert Kennedy still gets criticism from this camp today. The Kennedys were very pro-Israel. They're very openly pro-Israel. Remember, that was the purported excuse for the assassination of Robert Kennedy Sr. was his pro-Israel stance by Sirhan Sirhan. That was the sort of promotion.
People don't know that Sirhan was Palestinian.
Yeah. And now I don't think Sirhan Sirhan I think he was a mind control experiment gone wrong in certain respects. But I don't think he killed Robert Kennedy Sr., nor does Robert Kennedy Jr. believe he killed him. So I've done a hush-hush on that assassination. Mark Robert has covered aspects of it as well. Of America's Untold Stories. I think Hunley's got a new conspiracy. Maybe he could cover this one. The boost his new conspiracy theory channel. Because he could debunk some of the kooky ones. But here's the problem: like a lot of your first critics of Candace Owens are people that are either from the Daily Wire world or they're from like the Free Press, Barry Weiss, right? And they don't believe in any conspiracy theories, right? So consequently, they're not a credible critic of Candace Owens. As someone who believes in plenty of conspiracy theories, because history and evidence often leads it to being the more persuasive argument for past events, I do an entire, I have over almost 80 series of videos of Hush Hush at vivabarneslaw.locals.com exploring these alternative narratives. But this one is so laughably absurd, I might do a hush hush on it solely for the purpose of explaining its true origins. That there were certain elite power groups in Europe that were responsible, and it wasn't the Jews, who scapegoated the Jews for about 800 years, engaged in multiple forms of mini Holocaust. If you track certain DNA history, there's whole Jewish lines that just vanish in Europe before even the Holocaust. I mean, there were a little mini Holocaust over the years, because you had these elites that when they screwed people over needed a scapegoat, and the most convenient scapegoat was the one weird group in town that could read for themselves. And that was always a problem. She's borrowing from all of these ridiculous strains. Like Nick Fuentes became an expert in all the Jew baiting and blood libeling and race grifting, and has made it, and is sort of, and people treat him as a serious intellectual. He's not. He's a younger, dumber version of David Duke. That's who Nick Fuentes is. And now I keep getting it wrong. Candace Owens is now imitating him and replicating him. And she's suggesting this is serious thought and intellectual thought. It's not. There's Stalin. Okay, Stalin originally recognized Israel because Israel convinced him that the socialists who dominated early Israel would dominate continuously. Israel said, you know what? Soviet Union's not going anywhere. We're going to side with the U.S. And he never forgave him. He had some kids who married people who were Jewish. He refused to go to the weddings because of it. He was very anti-Jewish. Like, well, I talked to my friends in Georgia, and they told me everybody knew Stalin was Jewish. This is some of the dumbest crap on the planet. And the problem is that you may have legitimate conspiracy theories that really have merit to them that you discredit by being associated with this garbage, with this vile garbage. It lets Israel off the hook. If you're a critic of Israel and you're engaging in this ridiculous Jew hating, this ridiculous blood libeling, these preposterous propaganda pieces for your race baiting, race grifting, as Candace Owens is doing, then you've discredited yourself from credible public opinion about whether Israel is going too far in its war in Gaza. So she hurts the critics' cause. She sure doesn't help it.
Well, it's wild. I mean, okay, I'm trying to think. The Zionist occupied nation. I appreciate the argument that she's arguing that there might be overrepresentation of Jewish politicians in government. I can appreciate that, and so maybe she's being
entail 10%.
Well, no, I mean, let's say 10%. But
look in front of the CIA. They were very anti-Jewish. They're a bunch of wasps. They're also anti-Catholic for the most part. That's the tradition they come from, and that's where all this stuff is nonsense. You discredit yourself by you basically make anybody that's raising questions about Israel, anybody raising questions about AIPAC, look like they're as crazy or as race baiting and grace grifting as Queen Candace Owens is. I mean, they called her Queen Candace for a reason. It's her ego is so excessive; it's beyond all norms and boundaries. But this is absurd. This is laughably asinine and absurd. And I want nothing to do with her on a go-forward basis. This is a disgrace. and no one should take her seriously. She's a crackpot who's trying to damage people who have serious questions about whether it's Israel, whether it's the role of the Israeli lobby in the United States. If you want serious, sincere criticism, listen to Thomas Massey. Don't listen to Candace Owens because she's discrediting it by her actions. You would think she's working for AIPAC the way she's doing this.
It's I was surprised at some of these, like Stalin being Jewish. Okay, there's a rumor that he might have had sex with a Jewish woman or married a Jewish woman. I can understand how she might have made the mistake because a lot of the other communists were Jewish. I think. Okay, Trotsky was half Jewish. Marx was Jewish. Lenin, one of them was half Jewish. I forget
What's
which.
so funny about that? That version of the Jewish left hates Israel. Has always hated Israel. They've been anti-Israeli from day one for the most part. To this very day, the hardcore Jewish left is the most anti-Israeli group in the world. So can you imagine conflating those two to saying the modern day pro-Israeli group is ideologically, intellectually, ancestrally identified with the communists of the 1920s. It's completely false. I mean, not only that, Lenin was anti-nationalist. He was anti-national. This is Putin's main criticism of Lenin. He's like, Lenin didn't understand. He's like, the communists didn't understand the importance of nationhood and national identity. And in particular, as Putin considers it, the Russian identity. So, I mean, these people are conflating and confusing things in ridiculous ways that makes, they are there to effectively make a mockery of legitimate criticism, of legitimate skepticism, of legitimate conspiracy theories. They're an embarrassment. Don't be Candace Owens makes QAnon look sane.
It's a problem. I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. I'm trying to interpret what she's saying, not as a defensive, I'm Jewish, therefore she must be wrong, or I'm not offended. I do understand a lot of the arguments, but the Jews behind the assassination of JFK, I had just never heard. The Stalin being Jewish, I thought also was just outright wrong. When she came out and said that Macron's wife is actually a man and she would stake her reputation on it, and that I think turned out to be wildly wrong.
Yes,
I don't know what's going on, and
it's just making crazier claim after crazier claim after crazier claim, and I don't know whether she's gone down the Kanye cray path, or this is some sort of half-baked race grift. I mean, there's always a place for the race grift. David Duke made money for 50 years doing it, so there is always money for the race grift. Or maybe Ben Shapiro antagonizes people so much that they hate Jews afterwards. I don't know.
Okay, it's funny. It's not funny. Robert, there was a chat I wanted. I want to bring this up here just now before we head on over to Rumble. Although maybe we do a couple more things here. My favorite lawyers. Does the legal hitman judge in New York know that if he puts Trump in prison, it will backfire like every other time, or is a massive prison riot to try to kill Trump on the table? Robert, I've made my prediction. I mean, I guess we could talk about this one now. It's legal. Sure. I said the judge is not going to be able to get past the Supreme Court immunity ruling. He's looking for a way out. He's not looking for a way to lock Trump up. He's going to blame it on the Supreme Court. Say, I've got to strike the verdict or reverse the verdict and send it back after we do an evidentiary hearing. I would have sentenced him to a year now, but the Supreme Court tied my hands and I can't defy them. Blame those extremists, and he sends it back. What do you think is the most likely thing to come out of whatever's going to happen in September? When is it? It's in 3 weeks?
Yeah, so, I mean, you can bet on it at Polymarket and some other betting markets across the world, what he's going to do. So I put up a bet there at sportspicks.locals.com so you can figure out exactly what I think the odds are. But I think the popular assumption being put out there that he is going to send Trump immediately to Rikers Island without bail, without suspending or staying the sentence, without granting a mistrial, without granting a continuance in September, I think the odds of that are quite low. So that's the one part. I definitely think the odds are not good. Yeah, there's odds on whether or not the sentencing even goes forward.
Yeah, I'm taking what's less likely, but on the other end, I think Merchan is looking for a way to get out of this and blame it on somebody else and not take the heat for it. And I think he's going to find it by blaming the Supreme Court and saying, I would have done it. My hands are tied.
Well, I mean, I think if people are playing the motivation game, the assumption is that he wants to punish and hurt Trump. That's one set of motivations. Another set of motivations is he wants to politically damage Trump. And if he believes that imprisoning Trump on Rikers Island right at the beginning of the election season so that Trump couldn't even do the debates is going to be net positive for the Democratic Party, then you would think he's going to try to imprison him on Rikers Island. But even if the judge tried to do that, that goes to the appellate court. They can grant bail pending appeal. The Court of Appeals, which is the highest court in New York, they could decide bail pending appeal. The Supreme Court of the United States could intervene and decide bail pending appeal. So he, of course, could moot all of that criticism by finding some excuse not to immediately imprison Trump in the fall. And I think that's what's more in the Democratic Party's self-interest. And I think he knows that. And that's why I think that is a very low chance of occurring.
All right. And now before we head over to Rumble, I'm going to show everybody how this beautiful rack works, Robert. The rack Rumble Advertiser Center. It's an amazing thing. So whenever
that would be a good marketing for the rack.
Show me your rack.
To highlight good racks.
Well, I'm highlighting a big, beautiful rack right now. And check it out. You're going to see this here. Hold on as I do this. Okay, boom. I have an important message about President Trump for all the parents out there, so please listen. President Trump said he wants to take back America and teach our kids to love our country. That's why it's so important that we make sure our kids are learning the truth about President Trump, not the distorted lies they're hearing in the mainstream media. The good news is that Mike Huckabee's team put together the Kids Guide to President Trump, and right now you can get it for free with a fun illustration and easy to follow content. This important guide teaches kids all about President Trump's accomplishments during his first term, and it helps kids understand his goals for 2024. Mike Huckabee wants to send you this free guide so you can teach your kids the truth. But please hurry up because supplies are limited. To claim your free kids guides to President Trump right now, just visit Kids Trump Guide, KIDSTRUMP guide.com. That's kidstrumpguide.com. I'm getting one. Actually, no joke. I'm getting one.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
It's amazing because
you could have Ethan promote it. I'll read quiz after he reviews it.
Maybe
he's now a big fisherman. I mean, he's caught a huge fish. He even got it from the gator before the gator could
Oh
snag
God,
it.
I had that video on the lineup too. I was going to show everybody a beautiful tilapia out of the glades, and we ate it. It was not worth the cleaning job. I got like 2 ounces of flesh off a 3-pound tilapia, and I've never seen intestines like that in a fish before.
That was one huge fish. It was. It was like within maybe second and a half before that gator would have snagged it.
It was like 3 feet at moving at 20 kilometers an hour, whatever that gator was moving at. No, they make these stupid books, and I saw one propaganda book for what's his face, Obama. But like it is true. You're never going to know the truth about Trump unless you have people telling it. You record it in real time. And like I was talking to Trump's a monster. It's like, oh really? Can you tell me why? You say grab him by the put. Like people don't even know. They'll never know. And it's amazing to have people who are actually doing things like that. So Huckabee, congratulations. That's amazing stuff.
Huckabee does great stuff. People may not remember him, former governor of Arkansas. His daughter's now governor of Arkansas, comes from a Christian conservative tradition. He'll have the right sensitivity for what to come up with kids. As opposed to if you're going to the Democratic National Convention that starts in Chicago tomorrow, you can, it kind of makes sense. Go to the convention. They're giving out free abortions, so natural baby killers. But the other one is you can get clipped for free. And it's like, go to the DNC. What's the first thing you should do as a man? Get your balls cut off,
Robert. Okay, we're gonna end it on that. I just want to show everybody how it works with Rumble Advertiser Center as well. So right now you've got the link up there, and so you can just click on it, and you go like this, and it'll bring you. Well, you don't see the website because it has opened a new window. But if I show you here, this is what it brings you to. So go do it. Click on it and show Rumble that rack works. We got the best racks in Rumble. The racks are going to blow your mind. Okay. We are going to end it now on Twitter and Rumble. No, Twitter and YouTube. And I'm just going to find the button. Everybody, the link is up there. Actually, before we go, hold on. Let me just give everyone in YouTube the link to Locals if you decide to come there. Now my dog has just come back in here. Oh, you're lucky. You got to say hi to Winston. Check it out. Look at the leash. Yes. Oh, gosh, that's good. Okay. Oh gosh, you just pulled off my thing. There's a Rumble. There's a tip in there. A Rumble rant. It says Rumble is great. Says Harry Toe 1. Winston, can you get off the thing? Okay, sorry. So I forgot what I was doing now, but we're ending it. So the link to Locals. Come on over to Locals, and let's go on over to Rumble. Viva Fry on Rumble. Viva Barnes Law. rumble.locals.com and thank Rumble for their wonderful rack. Okay.